Hey guys, Victoria here, and welcome back to the Geeky Sandbox. So for those of you who don't know, Gemini Man is about a sniper who, after making a certain decision, decides, you know what, I'm out of the sniper game. And his team, or his, I guess, division that he's a part of, does not like that, and they feel like they need him. What happens a few years later? He finds that there is an exact replica of himself out there, not only doing exactly what he can do, but is trying to take him out because of information that he knows from when he did work with them as a sniper. This movie, it felt, I don't want to say it felt long. I feel like it felt like the natural pace it was supposed to. There were a few parts in the script where it did kind of drag just a little bit, just because you kind of have to fill people in on how this other version of Will Smith's character came to be, and what was Will Smith's character up to, and introducing a couple of other players in the game and things like that. So I understand why the pacing was the way it was, but it can get you a little, can make you a little sleepy if you're not ready for it, I'll say. The performances were great. There was like a really good moment from Will Smith as his character Henry, so much so that my boyfriend Steven was like, oh, acting. And he was just like so blown away by it, and it was like really good. You could tell Will Smith was this character. He did his research about Henry. He really wanted to understand Henry, and you know, Will Smith gets a lot of crap all the time, whether he's always in something or whether the movie may not do well, and sometimes a Will Smith movie may be a hit or miss, but I feel like his performance as Henry was amazing. And even his performance as Junior, 30-year age difference version of himself, was phenomenal. He understood what it was like to be 21 and what it was like to kind of not trust your parents and have all these different like hopes and dreams and still have this sense of like being overwhelmed with emotion. And I really think he did a really great job portraying these two characters very differently while also showing that they're exactly the same. Mary Elizabeth Winstead did great. She didn't have a lot to work with as Danny, but she did great. Her introduction was phenomenal and funny. Just how supportive she was and how she was able to stand on her own as this other agent was great. Benedict Wong was in this movie, and that was a pleasant surprise because I had no idea he was in this movie. Benedict Wong plays Baron, and he was a nice breath of fresh air, and also the kind of like breath of fresh air, but also the level-headed person of the three here. And I really enjoyed his performance in this film. So overall, like I said, I feel like the characters, they really weighed each other, like they kind of balanced each other out. And just taking a quick pause on that statement, guys. Editing, I realized I wanted to add something else when I talk about the actors meshing together so well. Douglas Hodge was the villain, the big bad in this movie, who Will Smith and the other characters are up against, and that's all I'll give away about that. But he definitely comes on too strong as a bad guy, if that makes any sense. Like there is a point in the movie where he makes his kind of elevator speech or elevator pitch as to why what he wants to do makes sense. But the thing that put me off about his performance, as I mentioned earlier, is like it's kind of like he came in like twiddling his fingers like Mr. Burns style, like I'm the evil person in this movie. And there was really no way throughout the majority of the movie for anyone to feel sympathy or empathize for him. And like I say, they do give him that moment to kind of say, hey, this is why I want to do what I'm trying to do. But it's so late in the movie, you don't care about him and you just don't have any empathy towards his cause. And so that's definitely one thing I wish they would have worked on to make the villain a little stronger and to give us something to maybe even confuse us by. Like, oh, do I side with this guy and his beliefs? Do I not? But I just feel like the entire movie, I was definitely like, okay, we get it, you're evil. I'm not here to listen to what you have to say. I do feel like a couple of times here or there, Danny, she kind of got, like, they really wanted to give us a sense of who she was and what she was doing, but it was kind of a like, oh, well, why is she doing this? Aside from like, it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? So there were a couple of moments where I felt like maybe the character's motives weren't exactly like clear, or it kind of came off as we're doing it because Will Smith's character is doing it. You know what I mean? And that, you know, it all still flowed nicely, but like sometimes I feel like maybe this character's motivation wasn't strong because we had this very strong story A going on, you know what I mean, with Junior and Henry. it was a little predictable, but it wasn't an angry predictable, like, it was more of a like, oh, okay, you know, I kind of saw this coming, but let's see where they go with it. And I feel like they were able to deliver for the most part in regard to like the question of, let's see what they do with this. And the script does seem like it falls more into a movie that probably would have been made a couple of years ago, or maybe a couple of decades ago. But I don't know. I feel like I get what Ang Lee was trying to do, but it definitely was a miss for me with the script per se. Like I said, it didn't have anything necessarily to do with the pacing of the film, but the script just really didn't hit or resonate with me. I think the movie was fine. The special effects, whether it was something that was done during certain fight sequences or things like that, I think all of that was fine. The one thing I will say is the CG for Junior was very noticeable, but it's like, you know, you kind of, whenever you are making decisions like that, when you do have an actor like Will Smith, it's like, do I want them to actually be on screen, and how am I going to get those facial expressions through? Am I going to just de-age him? Am I going to do kind of like, am I going to mocap him, 3D model, whatever, what have you? You do have to make those decisions in regard to budget, what you want to do with the actor, what the actor is willing to do. You do have to take those things into account. And they did make the decision to de-age Will Smith by 30 years. And it really did look like Will Smith did back when he was in his 20s, but you could see that, oh, this definitely is a de-age. Because, you know, like whenever you're standing still and someone's talking to you, you do things naturally, like you breathe, or you, your mouth moves subtly, whether you're taking in a small breath or, you know, wetting your mouth, whatever, like wetting your lips, whatever. You do small things when you're just sitting here. Your mouth twitches, your eyes twitch, just small things like that when you're naturally there. Just standing there, just being human. And so like, I really like that aspect of being able to see that kind of come through. It was definitely a lot more obvious towards the end of the movie, but you know, it is what it is. That's not what we're there for. We're there, well, let's be honest, some of us want to see Will Smith de-aged or see a replica of him but younger. So that is something that people went to go see it for. But overall, you're there for the story. So I know Steven didn't say anything about it. I didn't ask him, so I don't know if he was thinking about it. It doesn't necessarily take away the enjoyment of the movie. What do I give Gemini Man? I give Gemini Man a 3 out of 5. It really wasn't a horrible movie, and it wasn't like something that I'm gonna scream to the world about on top of a rooftop. It's nothing like that. It was something that was enjoyable. It was a thriller. It was action-packed. Will Smith's performances were great. The other actors meshed with him very well. I really do like the idea of the storyline. So it's like, you know, it's not something that's brand new or something we've never heard of. Did it have its flaws? Of course. No movie is perfect except insert movie, because I can't think of one. It was still an average movie for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a like rating down below. And of course, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can get more videos like this one. And until next time, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!